really thought about substances that have these incredibly surprising origins, especially when you think about, well, their reputation now. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into exactly that, taking a closer look at heroin.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because, heroin is primarily known as this powerful analgesic depressant.
Right.
It works on your central nervous system, and it dramatically slows down vital stuff like your breathing, your heart rate. It's an opiate derived from morphine.
Which comes from the poppy plant.
Exactly, the opium poppy's seed pod.
Okay, let's just pause on that history for a second because it's pretty wild. This stuff was first synthesized way back in 1874 by C.R. Alderwright. And get his actual goal. He was actively looking for a less physically dependent alternative to morphine.
Yeah, the irony.
The irony is just, yeah, it's really stark when you think about where things stand now. It's definitely something to keep in mind as we talk.
Absolutely. And, it shows up in different forms, too. Here in Australia, you usually see it as this light beige powder. Okay.
But it can also be white or brown. And sometimes you hear about black tar, heroin, that sticky stuff, especially over in Europe or North America.
Right.
But whatever form it's in, when someone takes it, it gets into the brain really, really quickly. And it immediately latches onto these opioid receptors.
And those receptors control?
Well, they're involved in a whole range of things, feelings of pain, pleasure, but also basic functions like heart rate, sleeping, breathing.
Okay, so let's connect the dots here for you listening. Our mission with this deep dive is pretty clear. We want to unpack exactly how heroin affects you. We'll touch briefly on common uses, definitely explore the big risks involved, and this is crucial, highlight essential safety information. We're pulling this from user-focused educational sources, the kind that really promote harm reduction.
Yeah, and to really get how it affects you, we should probably start with that immediate impact, on your body, your brain.
Yeah.
And there's a critical detail about its potency and, like, how long it actually hangs around.
We're talking physical effects like sedation, itching, but also emotional stuff like euphoria or this kind of profound numbness. But maybe one of the most critical things for safety, and it's often missed, is its half-life.
That sounds like one of those key pieces of information for safety, right? Tell us more about that.
Totally. So think of it like this. Heroin itself. It's incredibly short-acting. It's only really doing its thing for maybe 2 to 3 minutes.
That fast?
Yeah, before it completely transforms into morphine inside your system. And it's actually the morphine that then carries on the work, staying active for about 6 hours, give or take.
Ah, okay.
And this longer presence is why, you might feel the main effects wear off, but there could still be enough drug kicking around hours later, maybe even up to 18 hours later, to cause a really dangerous situation if you redose or mix it with something else.
Wow.
That residual effect, even when you feel okay, that's a major hidden risk.
So even though it started as a potential pain reliever, its main use now is recreational because of those strong euphoric feelings.
Predominantly, yes.
Understanding those effects and how it lingers, that's one part.
Yeah.
But the real power, like we said, is making informed choices. And that means knowing these harm reduction strategies that can literally save someone's life.
Absolutely. And this is where understanding your setting your mindset and your environment becomes just so important.
Right.
Your internal state, where you are externally, it massively shapes your experience and your safety with a substance this powerful. And another huge strategy, naloxone.
The overdose reverser.
Exactly. It can reverse an opioid overdose.
Yeah.
And it's freely available in a lot of places now. Crucial tool.
And tolerance. That's another big one where people can get into trouble, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. There's this often misunderstood danger with tolerance loss. Say you take a break, even a short one. Your body's tolerance level drops right down.
Okay.
So if you then go back and use the same dose you handled before the break, it can suddenly be way too much. Extremely dangerous, potentially fatal.
And that links into mixing drugs, I imagine.
Directly. Yeah, high-risk combinations are a huge concern.
Yeah.
Mixing heroin with other depressants, think alcohol or benzodiazepines like Valium.
Bad idea.
Really bad. It ramps up the sedation massively. You could become unconscious, suffer hypoxia, lack of oxygen, or even aspirate, inhale vomit. All of these drastically increase the risk of a fatal overdose. And even stimulants like cocaine, they can kind of mask heroin's effects, make you feel less sedated, so you might take more heroin than you otherwise would. Then, when the stimulant wears off...
the heroin hits full force. Big overdose risk.
Exactly. Increased risk.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, what about testing? Like roadside drug tests?
Good question. Roadside saliva tests, generally they don't actually test for heroin itself because, the way I said, it turns into morphine so fast.
Right.
But, and this is important, they can detect other substances that heroin might be cut with.
Yeah.
So the advice is still clear. Wait at least 24 hours before driving, minimum. Make sure nothing's left that could impair you or show up on a test.
It really sounds like underlying all of this, the massive challenge is just the unknown.
Yeah.
Especially in an unregulated market.
That's the core of it, absolutely. In an unregulated market, you simply have no way to know for sure what the purity is or what the actual dose is in whatever you have.
Yeah.
So this deep dive into heroin, it really reminds us that knowledge truly is power when you're navigating these kinds of serious risks. Understanding these complexities allows you to make more informed choices, to use harm reduction strategies, even when the market itself gives you zero guarantees. It kind of forces you to ask, how much are we really willing to know to better protect ourselves and the people around us?